This is, Selma Council and Successor Agency Special Meeting. Roll call. Raina, please.
Councilmember Dirk.
Here.
Councilmember Franco.
Here.
Councilmember Matias.
Bet you
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Robertson.
Here.
Mayor Avalos.
Here. Okay. And next item, a potential conflict, any council has potential conflict, has, can identify the item and excuse himself, identifying and discussing and voting on the matter. Anybody here on any of these matters here? Identify.
Yes, Mayor. With respect to items 3, 4, and 5, I recuse myself due to a conflict of interest. I have an ownership interest in real property within 500 feet of the property subject to the decision.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, given Councilmember Montijo's conflict on 3, 4, and 5, she is able to participate on items
Actually,
6, 1, and 2. So I'm wondering if we could perhaps do those 3 and then go back to 3, 4, and 5. That because she's going to have to leave the room and not participate. That way she doesn't have to wait.
Okay, we'll do the numbers again. Was it
1, 2, and 6?
1, 2, and 6.
1, 2, and 6? Okay, 1, 2, and 6. Okay. Would I need a motion on that?
No, we can just
Okay,
take
we'll do the on that particular item. As we move on here, we'll get to that right now. Okay, now this is a notice to the public to make any public comments under the code of section 54954.3. You may address the city council concerning any item that has been described and noticed in a special meeting. A member of the public has a limit of remarks of 3 minutes. Anybody here has any remarks? If not, we'll move on forward. Okay, move on. Okay, we'll have to make a recommendation to close successor agency 3, 4 and 4 and that's it. 4.
Mr. Mayor, at this point, you would recess the successor agency,
Okay.
and we can take items 1 and 2 if you'd
Okay,
like.
I'll recess agency on the items 4 and 5, right?
We're just going to recess the agency,
Okay.
and we'll reopen when we come back
Okay,
to
we
item
recess
4.
agency right now
Yes.
to sign. Okay,
Correct.
all right then. And then we'll right now we'll recess the item and we'll take on number 1.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. What you have in front of you obviously is a list of items that are pertaining to a project that we've been talking about for some time. The first items pertain to our labor groups. Bianca, can we take the 2 items together as one motion? Can we do
can.
that? Okay,
Yeah.
so items 1 and 2 pertain to our current MOUs and structures that we have in place. To be able to develop the agreement with the Fresno County Rail Transit Authority, we had some amendments that we need to do within our MOU structure. And the basic understanding of the MOU structure itself was really just bringing in the new job descriptions and items and pay scales within the MOUs themselves. So we do have some changes with the MOUs which pertain to the job descriptions, and those items are within the Public Works MOU. You have an addition to maintenance worker 1, 2, 3, and also a transit mechanic 3, and a transit shuttle driver. Okay,
What page is that?
that is page number 4. You'll see the bolded at the very top of the page.
Yep.
So in addition to that, you'll bring in the salary scales that go along with those positions as well.
And this is as a result of the deal with the FCRTA.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, for item number 2, you're having a similar situation, but it's pertaining to the mid-management MOU agreement. So if you flip to page number 8, you'll see in the bold the new descriptions of the positions that are coming in, which would be the transit maintenance manager, and under the supervisory positions, you'll see the fleet maintenance supervisor as well. So again, we're bringing in the new positions with the descriptions and also the pay scales for those positions.
And these are new people?
That's correct.
And this will be funded by the agreement with the
Yeah.
Fresno County Rural Transit Authority.
That's correct.
Okay.
Is there any questions regarding these two action items?
Any
Okay.
questions?
Will the effective date, when will the effective date of the agreement be?
Will that start on October first? January, I mean,
We'll get into
We're
that.
getting there, okay.
okay. All right. Any questions from council? Open it to the public? We open up to the public.
Sure.
We open up to the public.
Go ahead.
Okay, anybody in the public can, come forward and discuss this matter on, considering, understanding between the Rural Transit Agency number 1 and number, 2. If not, refer back to council.
Move for approval?
Second?
Okay, roll call, Rena?
And
Councilmember Durr,
Mr. Mayor, if I can just interrupt one moment. Councilmember Durr, was that a motion to approve both items 1 and 2?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Move for approval of items number 1 and 2.
I'll second both items.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Durr,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Robertson.
Aye.
Councilmember Franco,
Aye.
Councilmember Montijo,
Aye.
Mayor Avalos.
Aye, okay. Okay, and,
Yes, number 6?
Yes.
yeah, number 6. Okay, we'll go to number 6. Okay, this is number 6 is the discussion direction regarding concession use permit, purpose of 1.65 megawatts, per solar power generating factory located in the west side south of McCall, approximately 1,900 feet from Manning Avenue. A request from the county board of supervisors, on this matter.
Thank you, Mayor. The item we have in front of you is basically staff looking for direction. There was an item on a project that came to the Board of Supervisors. The project originally did come to the city as far as comment requested from the planning department from the city. The city itself, via the planning department and the CM, made direction that the project itself was satisfactory. There was some stipulations as far as some curb appeal, landscaping and things of that nature, so they accounted for some expansion of McCall when the growth did get out to that area. But other than that, the city itself did not have any further comment. It came to the planning commission at the county. They did reject the item, and it was then turned over to the Board of Supervisors for appeal. At that point in time, our mayor voiced his opinion for the project, and the Board of Supervisors requested that he bring it back to our body and take further discussion. So what we're looking for is direction in which you'd like us to bring this back to the fourth agenda on whether to either, one, have a resolution stipulating that would you like to be against or for it or against it, okay? Or we can take the position in which the city has already taken and not take a further standpoint and go with the further the comments that were previously given. So at this point, I'd open it up for comments from the council.
Okay,
Now, this is not, is this in the city limits?
it's in the sphere of influence, believe it,
Sphere of-
It is not. It's close to Manning
Manning,
Avenue and
yeah.
McCall.
but it, you know.
It is in our sphere, that's correct.
you
So
know,
since it is in our sphere, the county would request comment from us.
Yeah,
But we had already provided that comment.
Correct.
yeah, and.
So what does our general plan say?
Our general plan didn't stipulate anything. It's gonna be housing in that area, so it's not against the general plan per se. If it was, we would've had further comment that it didn't fit that description in that area. So as far as the general plan, it was sufficient.
So if the city had already provided comment, then how is it that it got back to us?
Are we changing our mind?
No, and the reason why I got back to us, Yvette, and, cause there was some, the county had some concerns, believe it or not, when they're up, they had, their planning department had concerns on this, development operation, because they looked at the, future development of Selma, and they had, their planning department, actually was gonna deny it.
So wouldn't that have been brought back to
And
staff?
then and the county wanted to go back, send it back to Selma, because really, we weren't, as council people, we weren't aware of that area going in that direction. It'd be like, if they were gonna put I'll give an example, if they're gonna put a dump site there, wouldn't you want the city of Selma council to know what's going on?
But interim city manager said that the city had already provided comment.
But, you know, once again, when you have development coming forward, and it might jeopardize their development.
So did you go before the Board of Supervisors at the request of the city manager or at the request of the council?
I went as a citizen and with concerns that we come back to council, because I felt it should have come back to us.
Is that how you represented yourself there?
I represented myself as an individual that had concerns, and as a mayor, I had concerns because we didn't have,
But
any.
as a mayor, did you have authority from the city or from the council to do that?
Once again, Yvette, there was some concerns had to come back to the city, and the county server recognized that, as council wasn't aware of these items coming forward to us, okay? It'd be like you, if you have your property over there.
I
and
understand, but the
I'm just letting you
question
know
for
that,
me-
those items that are serious, and I have, concerns. We have future developments coming down the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
We have a vision, like anything else, we have a vision.
Absolutely.
And
However, the
even the
question
county,
is-
even the county had a vision.
Right. Now,
and
the
their
question
vis-
is, did you go at the request of council or did you go at the request of the interim city manager? Because it is my belief that this would not have come back to us had you made the request as a citizen. I just want to know how you represented us and the city of Selma. Was it at our request?
It was I'll be honest, it was a request that I had to address as a private citizen, and that,
But did you represent yourself as the mayor at
I
this
represent
meeting?
I said, I'm the mayor, I told him I was the mayor of Selma, and I have concerns this issue here as a citizen on these issues, and it came forward, and the county should recognize it. They were gonna shoot it down, Yvette. They just, bottom line, they came back to us, sent it back to us to, hey, kinda
But
like.
did they send it back to us because of your comments at that meeting representing the city of Selma? I just wanna know.
Well,
I
the-
don't recall having this council giving any direction in this
It wa-
particular area, nor do I recall the interim city manager asking for direction
Well,
from
one thing,
us.
the concerning,
And that is concerning to me.
well, I'm gonna tell you something, Yvette. The concern I had was
I
we weren't
absolutely- I
informed.
understand your
We
concern.
weren't informed these issues.
But my concern is
You
a
know,
legal one.
Once again, Yvette, the concerns was the residents of Salmon and the concern of development, that we're gonna have future development, and it would jeopardize the future of Salmon direction. We have a vision on our table, and, when people, you have to kinda say, hey, man, I'll give you an example. I
But
did-
sometimes we can't say, hey, man, unless you've been given direction from the rest of us or from the city itself. My
Well,
understanding is the city had already given its position, stated that.
But we
And
weren't, were
I
we informed on,
understand that you
Yvette, were you
appeared at-
informed on that issue? Yes or no?
Some
Did-
things
no, were
don't
you-
rise to the level of
Well,
our
I'm asking you a
understanding.
question, yes or no?
There was nothing in the general plan that would state cause for concern. It was not violating our general plan. I believe
How
that
do you
it
know?
was within.
How do you know? You didn't know what was going on there. How do you know?
I just asked my interim city
Well, no,
manager.
I asked you earlier, and about that, you know about the project, and you said no.
The project isn't
I
what's
mean, you have.
at issue. It is how you represented yourself at this Board of Supervisors
you
meeting.
know,
That's what's at the heart of all of this.
Yvette, you have to understand,
No,
you know.
what, I just want to know.
There should be a record made of the meeting. I think it could be verified one way or the other. Maybe
Yeah,
we could
anything
order
like,
a
I'll be
rec-
honest with you,
a record
Yvette,
of the meeting.
anything on a horizon development, in a sphere of influence, we should be
Before we
notified.
move on this item, I would like to hear that record or read that record.
Okay, but, I'm just letting you know that, hey, there's concerns here, This-
Absolutely,
And
and
I- and
there
I'll
is a
give you an
concern that
example. I'll give you an
perhaps
example.
overstepped your bounds.
What are the ramifications of that meeting? Can you just give us a legal opinion on that?
So
A
what
comment on that?
what happened? I viewed the video. Acting city manager viewed the video as well. Given that the mayor represented himself as the mayor, Supervisor Mendez, who represents this area, requested that the item come back to the city council and that the city council either provide some sort of input on the project if the council desired to make input on the project. So that's where we are today. That's why we're here now asking for some direction. Should the council choose to take no direction, we can also call the county and let them know that, you know, the information that was previously communicated to the county will be the information that the city is standing on.
So it wouldn't have come back to the council but for the mayor going in front of the Board of Supervisors?
That's correct.
But
However,
no,
he represented himself as the mayor of Selma, which I don't recall giving him direction for. He is, while he is the mayor, and I do respect your position, Mr. Mayor, however, we are one body, and your one vote isn't enough.
That's correct. That's why it's come back to us, Yvette.
So we're here this morning.
That's why we're here.
so it would come
know.
back and there would be no violation because it comes back to
To
the
us.
city council.
That's
for an
It
correct.
provides some insulation, but again, this is something that we talked about last week where, you know, situations can sometimes go a little bit sideways if we're representing ourselves in our capacity as a governmental official rather than in our personal
So it's
capacity
kind of a teachable moment that when we get up in front of other boards, we represent ourselves
as an individual, unless the council has taken an official stance on the matter,
And
correct?
that's what's my concern.
And the body did recognize that situation that was occurring and stipulated that the mayor himself would need to come back to this body itself and get an agreement from the whole, not just as an individual. So that's what brings us back here
What's
today.
the legal ramifications for us?
Because it's being brought back to you, I think that we have insulation from
And to
anything.
the mayor himself personally?
Again, because we're coming back as a body, I think everything should be fine.
I think it's just something to remember, but it's a good
Yeah.
call, and I do appreciate having this project put in front of us, just looking at it. I just don't know a whole lot about it. I do have a question of protocol. Should it go in front of the planning commission before it comes to us? Did it go in front of the planning
It
commission?
didn't come
No.
nowhere.
No, it wouldn't.
Because, right,
Had
it's,
no-
Because it's in our sphere, it's really a county project at that time.
Okay.
We can provide comments to that stipulation, whatever our comments may be, good or bad. That is what the standard practice would be.
Yeah, and I-
generally what happens is when a project is in another city's sphere of influence, as is this, the city will get a letter, in this case from the county planning department, asking if we have any concerns or if we would like to review conditions or add additional conditions. Then that information would be processed by the planning commission. Here, it's my understanding that this project, it's a solar project. It went before the planning commission at the county, the county planning commission. Their recommendation was approval. The planning commission, on a unanimous vote, I don't know how many members they have, decided that they wanted to deny the project. I believe there were some issues with aesthetics. It was aesthetically unpleasant. It would generate dust, and it was incompatible with the surrounding agricultural uses, are the reasons that it was denied by the planning commission.
Yeah.
The appellant, so the developer, appealed the decision of the planning commission to the full board of supervisors. And it looks, based on the staff report, that staff was still recommending approval of the project at the board of supervisors level.
Mhm.
How big is this plant?
It's 9 acres of a 20-acre parcel.
And what's this for? Where will this go? Will it be sold? Will it be used for power? Or will it
It'd be used for power,
for any particular?
it'd be, business power, business.
And
TV
also
shows.
from and I only know information based on the video that I watched, but from what the applicant was saying, individuals would actually be able to somehow connect to it for their energy
Correct.
generation.
They
So-
did go out and speak to the residents around the body and kind of incentivize them because of the project. They understand that it is coming into their neighborhood, but they give them discounts and things of that nature to kind of work with the surrounding community itself. And the community itself, as far as those homes, didn't object to the project. That, according to the developer. I need to stress that though too as well. So again, if you're concerned about the project as a whole, we can hear the full project at that time at the next meeting if you want to take a position one way or the other. Or we can sit with the standings of the comments that were previously made by the city manager and the planning department.
I think I'd like to hear more about it. I just don't know enough to make an informed decision at this point.
I would agree with Councilmember Robertson. However, I hate to belabor a point. My point is this: I do feel, and I believe that my feeling is substantiated by the video that our city attorney, Bianca Sparks, witnessed, that the mayor did misrepresent himself. And I believe that this has become habitual up until this point, and that is what is at the heart for me. This item aside, is that the citizens of Selma, that this council understand completely and fully that while the mayor is still the mayor and we owe him a respect for that position, you cannot represent the council nor the city on any item which we have not given you direction for. We each have one vote up here, and that needs to be understood. The mayor is a glorified position in a city manager type of structure for city government. You sign the papers, you're our official representative when we're out in public, but you cannot act on our behalf without our direction. And that is concerning to me.
I think that'd be another topic. I think we're getting
Yeah.
off the agenda.
Yeah,
item
we
here.
gotta go-
This is not an item.
Yeah, we wanna
to
go back.
It
chastise
is
the mayor.
tangentially,
Yeah.
This is an
Yeah.
item on whether or not to approve a conditional
it
Yeah.
use
is
permit
tangentially,
for a solar item. If we wanna bring that item back, we
I don't
could
think
do
this is an
that,
item
but
to approve, right? Because we don't know.
We're requesting direction whether to bring it back or not. You're not approving for, say, writing up a resolution, sorry. You're not approving a resolution to be for or against the project, but you're really giving staff direction to bring it back to the body as a whole with a resolution so that we can give recommendation back to the county as far as our position.
With pictures
Correct.
and all the other stuff that goes with it.
Correct.
And
Let's do that.
staff has already reviewed it, right?
That's correct.
All right.
I
So
would
again, you
typically
can stay with the
prefer
original
have the right to
comments.
Come back,
Yeah.
and if we could place this item that I'm referring to that's tangentially related, back on the agenda as well for further discussion. I think something like this would have continued had we not had the meeting we had last Wednesday, which was very informative. And I think the public should have been privy to that. And I think the public needs to understand how this council functions, because I think many people are either misled or misinformed and are assuming that what has happened is okay. And for me personally, it is not okay.
So just for the record, there is direction to bring it back, correct,
Yes,
as a
sir.
whole?
True.
yes.
Is it?
Okay,
Well, I
Bring it
personally,
back as an agenda
I
item.
personally think
Number
that
six.
I'm perfectly comfortable just going with staff direction. I think as a council, we gotta be careful not to become in, micromanagers, you know? But
well,
if we wanna bring it back and discuss it, I mean,
know,
Let's do it.
four of us
it-
do, so
the-
we'll discuss
you know,
it.
the reason why
Okay.
I
Okay,
suggest.
we'll bring it back then at the fourth.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
And I don't
All right,
think we can- correct, yeah.
okay, and,
Thank you.
thank you for the comments. All right, let me open up to the public on that.
She's gotta recuse herself.
Public?
Yeah, she does. We have to wait until Councilmember Montijo leaves.
Huh?
We have to wait till Councilmember Montijo leaves.
Okay,
And we're on to item number 3.
okay.
Let the record reflect that at 9:22, Councilmember Montijo recused herself, left the dais, and also left the room.
Okay, and where we open this thing for the successor agency, special meeting?
Mr. Mayor, first we need to consider item number 3,
Yes, item 3.
and then after item 3, then we'll open up the
Okay,
successor
okay.
agency.
Okay, considered member of the agency agreement between the Fresno County Rural Transit Agency and the city provide fleet vehicle maintenance service. Isaac?
Thank you. What you have before you is, again, a project that we've been talking about quite extensively over a period of time. It's an agreement between the Fresno County Rural Transit Authority and the City of Selma to provide a service, a maintenance service for their fleet itself. There is some terms in which the agreement that, if you'd like to discuss, we can. It is basically a 4-year term agreement with some extensions in it for an additional 4 years. Is there any questions regarding this item?
What are the effective dates?
September 4th,
Oh, September 4th.
effective today? Okay.
Today? Oh,
Contract says the 4th, right?
Okay, if we approve it,
Should be today.
Okay,
if we,
so we can change that.
okay. Okay. Any questions from the public?
Term of services?
Terms of service.
I'm looking at page one, term of
Yeah.
services.
Yeah.
Correct, so they'll begin work that day, but it'll be approved today. So
Gotcha.
They can begin hiring, staff can begin hiring.
So,
So the execution will be today, but the term doesn't start. The service won't be provided until the 4th.
but they can start today, right? They can get started as soon
Staff-
as possible.
Based on the changes to the MOU, staff can begin, that allows staff to begin the hiring process, but the actual services, is my understanding, won't begin until September the 4th. If
As
for
a
some
practical
reason,
matter, they're not gonna hire you guys aren't gonna hire 6 people in 2 days, right? I mean, it will be after September 4th that the people come on board,
Well,
or are
due,
they coming on board immediately?
Well, let's,
due to the process in which our hiring process, we're bringing these individuals on as a temporary basis until we can finish the hiring process, and we'll go through that full scope.
Okay,
so by bringing their
Just
current
temporary
staff
too.
on as temporary, that can be done immediately,
Mhm.
and that's
that's
why
outside
we
the
had-
scope of this agreement. We could just bring them on as staff, and then when we bring the full-time permanent, then that applies to this agreement. Is that correct?
everything will apply to this.
Everything
You-
applies to
You
the agreement.
amended the MOUs to allow us to have those additional positions. Now that we have those additional positions, Isaac and Tesla can begin today the process of recruiting and hiring those individuals as temporary employees.
But the term of the agreement wouldn't start.
It's my understanding that they have an agreement that runs through September 3rd, and so the physical work would not start until September the 4th. That's what's been communicated to
But
us.
the
If it's
hiring
something,
can start now.
correct,
Got it.
because that's something
If they
separate
get
and
hired
apart.
along in the next week or two,
They begin September the 4th.
okay.
Yeah.
So we'll bring them on. They'll be temporary employees, full-time temporary employees. And then we can start the process today as far as getting that full scope of what needs to be done.
Okay.
So,
okay,
Thank you.
let me hear it from the comments. Moses, comment?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. Moses Stites, General Manager, Fresno County Rural Transit Agency. And just so you know, it is a 3-year agreement with an option of 4 years. Just by way of background, to give you a little bit of history on this, FCRTA recently put out our request for proposal, which included the maintenance and also the route and dispatching services. After almost 40 years of service here, we thought it was time to take a different direction, and we were operating in the city of Fresno, and we thought, where are our roots? They're really rural Fresno County, and we have 13 member agencies, Selma being one of them, and we thought, what better location to land not only the maintenance, but also a potential project of an actual maintenance facility physically. So we went through the process, the RFP process, and we selected for the route and dispatching services MV Transportation, which is a nationwide private company, which also operate in Canada, probably a $3 billion a year corporation. That's all they do is transportation. They could have also done the maintenance, which they bid on through the RFP process, as I alluded to earlier. However, we thought we have a very good relationship with our member agencies, and we also have a JPA, Joint Powers Agreement, which I'll have Janelle distribute to you folks, which really gives us a lot of latitude to work with the member agencies such as yourself. And Raina, would you like for her to pass them out, or do you? Okay, thank you. And this JPA was initiated and consummated back in 1979 when the agency was initiated. And in the middle of the negotiations with the agreement that FCRTA proposed to the City of Selma to staff with legal counsel reviewing it, we forwarded this JPA because this is pretty much our Bible, our operating mantra that gives us a lot of latitude and leeway to have this relationship with one of our member agencies, which has worked out quite well over the years. not only with the city of Selma, but with other cities. As you know, we are responsible for putting in a lot of your infrastructure improvements to the municipal yard without a charge to the city, without any agreements. We just go in and take care of it because you let us park our vehicles there, and it's a very reciprocating type of an arrangement. We have CNG units at your maintenance yards. We recently put in automated gates. We've probably put in $250,000 to $500,000 worth of improvements. And all really done through the JPA without any agreements, without any formal review and other things like that. We even have a security agreement with your police department. Do we need that agreement? No. We could just call 911 and get the same services. But because we have this JPA, we have a relationship with the city and other cities as well, it works quite well. And that kind of goes to the point here, and I'll address more of it in the actual land agreement and the lease thing, is that as a council, you provide direction and guidance, and obviously you have representation to protect your interests. That's great. FCRTA does as well, and we're represented by County Council, Fresno County, and we just think that it was a long process, and we think that at some point in time you might want to look at it as a council, how you review those agreements and to what extent you do that. And I'm not asking for any special treatment as Fresno County Rural Transit Agency or through this JPA, but historically, we've had a very good working relationship. I've been doing work here in the city of Selma since 1978, 79 with the Summer Youth Employment Program back in the day, okay? So it tells you a little bit about my age. But more extensively and directly, I've been doing work with you folks in a collaborative manner since 1990 when I was with the Department of Transportation, Caltrans. And then later in 2008 when I was with the Public Utility Commission. The railroad crossings, the accidents, a lot of other issues. So I have a history going back with Selma, and I think it's a great community, it's a great place, and I think that's why we selected it. My only comments to you, and I'm appreciative of this agreement. Thank you, Isaac. Good work as staff. Reina, phenomenal. You just take a look at kind of the approach on the way you look at agreements and collaboration with partnering agencies, whether it's us, whether it's Department of Transportation, whether it's a local or other agencies. And I'm just throwing that out with all due respect to council. And we have different attorneys reviewing this stuff as well, and they're doing their role on our behalf as well. But it's just something that you might want to look at and talk with staff with regard to that. But we're in complete agreement and concurrence with the agreement, and we look forward to this lasting relationship that really we can build on. MB Transportation, just by way of economic development, rented a place downtown here on Aarons and Logan for their staff and their operations. They're going to be expanding their operations, and I was able to convince them that Selma was the place to locate because of the working relationships that we have, and they're hiring local. As a matter of fact, that one of the dispatchers is a local resident. They just hired her this last Monday, and they're going to be hiring a lot more local people. When I was talking to one of the MV managers, he was at one of your local paper supply companies. He was dropping $300, $400, $500, okay? A lot of the employees are gonna use the restaurants downtown and other facilities as well.
Are they renting a local office until their
Yes, they
local
are.
office
They're,
is ready?
excuse me, right next to, is it Central Valley Engineering? Yeah.
They're in the
right
old
there.
Central Valley Engineering building.
And you know what's neat about that? I look at tangible results, okay? Yeah, I understand the agreements, the legal protocol and so forth, but I look at the tangible results. When I went to that office, there were shrubs, there was no concrete, there was no ADA accessibility, and I went in there just day before yesterday, and I'll be going there after this meeting. Concrete for ADA, a sign up, and all local, okay? They hired a local concrete person. They took care of the shrubs. It adds vitality and economic return for your city. And I say that because there are net outcomes from this agreement and this ongoing collaboration that we have and that we hold dear to us because we provide a transportation service to you. My hesitation is that, do I want to get into another agreement and go through the same process? You know, I may think twice about it. If Police Chief Garner were here, I'd say, Chief, I don't know that I'll get into an agreement with you next year, because if we have to go through the same review process, we'll just call 911, and then you don't get your $5,000 for that additional security agreement. So there are some things that go above and beyond, and I really think that as a council, it's your prerogative, but you really need to look at that. But again, thank you very much. We're in concurrence with this agreement, and we're appreciative of this continued relationship, and we want to continue going
Just reading
forward.
between the lines, if I could, Mr. Mayor, are we moving forward in a purposeful way towards the approval of this agreement?
Oh, we are. We concurred with it. It's just the haggling and going back and forth over some of the issues, I think,
I wasn't aware of any
we're
haggling
not.
or.
Well, they were back and forth. They were legal terms, legal jargons from my legal counsel and your legal counsel and so forth. I'm just saying that based on the history, based on the JPA and our relationship, business relationship, I think it could have gone smoother. And I would hope that if we were to entertain future agreements, they would, because we have a lot of projects planned for the City of Selma. And I would not want to have them deterred, because there's a lot of other cities that want us there as neighbors. So we just want to make sure that the relationship is open and it continues, and that there's minimal overreaching or any disruption to that. We want to make it as smooth as possible, a seamless transition and so forth. That's
So-
all.
Absolutely.
So we do have a great working relationship with the Fresno County Transit Authority. We did go through these agreements. There was some back and forth. Getting the attorneys together, kind of collaboratively work that out, and it did happen. So again, we'll go forward for this process. We'll look to the future and continue our working relationship with the Fresno County Transit Authority in Moses. He is a great addition to our city. I see him as an addition because of the JPA. We've always had a great relationship with them, and we work together, and we'll continue to do that.
And I, you know, I read between the lines too, but I want, you know, Moses has been around for a long time. Even when I came on the council, he's been an advocate for our community for a long time. And when we became the Rural Transit, he stepped up and helped our community. And I thank you, Moses. You put the benches out there. You came in our community on $0, helped it, and we people like you. When you make those contacts with people like that and step up to the plate and help people, and we want that, you know, that business friendly atmosphere, and you created it. You stepped up and did it for us, and you actually were the guy that, you know, hey, you know, I'm coming to Selma, I'm going to do this for you guys, blah blah blah, you know, without any pushback from the city or anything, or anything on our matter, and we want to continue that, and we want to make sure that we have that dialogue with you as friendly and business friendly to not only you but everybody else. You know, we need that. You know, if we want economic growth in our community, we have to be business friendly and not how would I say it, not adversarial in a different way. You know, but we have to be in that direction, because towns grow in partnerships, not in adversarial idea. Even with good example, Kingsburg and Fowler, we have a good relationship now, and Fowler too, and I want those things in the future, because I know they're very important in life. You know.
If I could just make one closing comment, you know, we do have a choice of where we go. We could have gone to any one of the 13 incorporated cities in Fresno County. For us, Selma was competing with Fowler and Kingsburg, and for lack of a better word, I use competing, but really, you folks stood out. We could have gotten closer to Fresno, but there was a lot of reasons that we chose this community, and specifically City of Selma, and I'll get into it in the land use agreement when that comes up on the next item. But I had two firms representing FCRTA legal counsel, and one of them said, "Moses, I thought you were in partnership with this city." I said, "I am." "Well, they sure are treating us like an adversarial party." And I said, "No, that's not the case. Believe me, I've been working with them a long time." And just throwing my history with Caltrans and the PUC, if this approach were to be taken with any of those state departments or other entities, they may be here at the podium in the same way. And again, I'm not trying to diminish your legal coverage and the capacity to be covered as a public entity, but all I'm saying is, in my professional opinion, it can be improved, and I think there's room for improvement, and I think we need to go toward that. If somebody comes to me and says, "Moses, how was it working with the City of Selma?" Do I tell them the truth, or do I fudge a little bit? What do I tell them? Okay? You've got potentially other developers coming in, development, and they have choices as well where they go with the city. And I think you want to convey a sentiment of being open, minimal bureaucracy, very little, issues or challenges with agreements and negotiations. You want to convey that because Selma has a lot to offer, and I think you can do that without sacrificing any of your legal boundaries or any other situations. Mine happens to be different because FCRTA has a JPA with you folks, and as I've told staff and I've told our attorneys, and they've concurred, if I sue you, it's like suing myself. If you sue me, it's like suing yourself based on the JPA. And at the end of the day, this agreement is not foolproof for either party. So where are we at? Here we are a few days before the deal, but you know what? Let's look forward and hopefully things will improve. Thank you very much.
May I have a response from the city attorney, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if I may. So under the JPA, when a member agency performs work that relates to the JPA, you have to have agreements to be able to conduct that work. And that's why the transit agency sent us agreements and they asked us to review them. In the review, there were a number of issues with insurance, with indemnification, with clarity on the scope of work. The issue here is that the city, while it is a member of the JPA, if something were to happen, it would be the city that would be named in a lawsuit and not necessarily the JPA. They may perhaps name both parties, but we need to make sure that we have the proper information and language in the agreement to protect us. I did have conversations. I had one conversation with their private counsel up in Sacramento regarding the next item on the agenda. She completely understood our concerns. Our agreement was very amicable, and she said she appreciated my telephone call, and we were able to resolve everything with one phone call. With county counsel, I had 2 different phone calls. Again, both of them were quite amicable, and they did understand our concerns, and we went back and forth with 2 phone calls and were able to resolve the things in the agreement. So in my experience, I don't see this as taking a long time. In fact, I think it was a very quick turnaround, and I think that there's the agreements are better now that we've made certain revisions to them, and I think that they provide better protection to the city and also the JPA as well.
Thank you. So, any response to that, Mr.
Oh,
FCRTA Director? Are we good? Got that?
No.
Are we going
And,
to
you know,
approve something?
what your
Yeah,
attorney
but-
said is absolutely correct, and we have no issue with that. Again, it's the process, okay?
So I would just make the comment that, I've known Moses Stites a long time, been going to COG, this is my 3rd year. And Council of Governments, Moses does a Fresno County Rural Transit Authority presentation every meeting.
Yep.
And I remember when he brought this up, that the cities of Fowler and Kingsburg and Selma were in the running for this agreement. And I pushed hard for it. I know our city manager, then Perea, interim city manager, Moreno, pushed hard for it as well, get them all the information, because we have the ideal place, we have the location, and it seems like we really move forward in a very purposeful way. We competed with the cities in a very friendly, reasonable way, and Selma prevailed. And I think I think that was because of our location geography. It made sense, but also because we also have the goodwill of the FCRTA director, which I think we want to retain. Moses goes above and beyond. He provides transit for the Boys and Girls Club, for instance, in the summer, and to the swim lessons, the free swim lessons that the Selma Healthcare District generously provides. So I think, maybe it's a perception thing that, we are partners with the FCRTA. We are the FCRTA. They are us.
That's right.
And I would just hope that we continue a smooth transition into this boon, into this real tangible benefit.
Correct, and that's why
for
there are
some.
things like mutual indemnification, certain insurance provisions, because we do have that type of relationship when we are a part of the JPA. But some things just needed to be clarified and solidified, and that's, my obligation is to provide protection to the city. God forbid something were to happen, with one of these buses or something else that went out and the city weren't protected.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with that, and I understand that the city needs to be protected. At the same time, our interest goes beyond Selma as well in this case and goes to the FCRTA, so I think a collaborative approach would be really helpful. And I have to say, I haven't heard the FCRTA director make statements like this before,
Yeah.
so it's a little surprising to me. So I just want to make sure that we get back on track and we make sure that we are working towards the benefit of Selma and the FCRTA. Thank you.
And again, I have shared these comments with staff, and with all due respect to council, she is doing her job representing you, and she does it quite well. But I've been on the other side where have filed litigation against jurisdictions when I was with the state of California. As a matter of fact, we'd sued one local entity. I won't mention the name. And I'll tell you, with the PUC, some other filings and some recent litigation, and none of those have been as rigorous process with these two agreements as this has been. Maybe it was just a whole different thing, but I'm just sharing that with you in light of everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Moses.
You're
Is there
welcome. Thank
an
you.
action at this time?
Yeah,
Or a motion, I should say?
I'll make a motion to approve item 3.
Okay.
Second it.
All right, roll call, Rena, please.
Councilmember Franco.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Robertson.
Aye.
Councilmember Durr.
Aye.
Mayor Alvarez.
Aye. Okay, item number 4. Consider a
Mr.
resolution.
Mayor, at this point, you'll need to reconvene the successor
Oh,
agency.
that's right. We gotta at this moment, we have to reconvene from the, City Council Successor Agency special meeting. Okay? And then, now we can go back to, a regular meeting here, back to regular meeting. Okay, item number 4. Consider resolution, purchase and sale agreement, joint endowment instruction between the Assessor Agency and the City of Selma Redevelopment Agency of Fresno County Rural Transit for assessment parcel number 390-190-15S in the item of $100,000.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Isaac?
The agreement you have in front of you is in conjunction with the RDA and one of the properties that is located in the Selma Industrial Park. This location itself is currently been inhabited by our fire training center, which you'll see as an action item for the next agenda as far as how that process will work for that item. But in this actual document, what you'll see is us going through the motions of with the RDA and the city and being able to go through the process and sell this piece of parcel to the Fresno County Rural Transit Authority for the amount of $150,000. I will say that this is going to be a process. This document is the beginning of that process. We will have to go to the oversight board at the county, would be our next step.
Mr. Mayor, if I just may add to Mr. Moreno's staff report, because this is a successor agency-owned item, as Mr. Moreno indicated, it will need to go to the oversight board. Their next meeting is September the 13th. After that, it will need to go up to the California Department of Finance, and the DOF will have about 65 days to determine whether or not they approve the sale. There was some back and forth on this agreement. When we received it, it was written as a city agreement rather than a successor agency agreement, because I believe there was some misunderstanding as to the fact that the parcel was actually owned by the agency. when you sell a successor agency property, a number of provisions need to go into the agreement, and those were put in by my office and agreed to with private counsel for FCRTA.
Okay.
What's the process for this,
yeah,
the timeline?
So-
65 days, you said, right?
Correct, 65 days after it goes up, after the oversight board reviews it. That's if the oversight board approves it. If the oversight board doesn't approve it, we'll have to come back to the council for further, and to the successor agency for further direction.
And staff will be going to the oversight board and making our opinions on this statement and trying to get it moved forward.
Is there a formal review
Yeah.
or hearing process with the DOF?
Yeah.
Or does that just go to somebody's desk?
Yeah,
It
but-
generally, it'll be sent up to a general email address, and then DOF determines whether or not they're going to look into it. I don't know if we have a particular individual at DOF that reviews the city's transactions or not.
In your experience, if the oversight board approves it, is the likelihood fairly high that the DOF will approve and bless the agreement?
Generally, yes. However, I haven't had situations where we've had so much outstanding litigation with DOF, and so that may color DOF's decision.
Is there any appeal for DOF's
Yeah.
decision if it goes sideways?
There should be a meet and confer process
Yeah.
that we're able to engage in.
Okay. All right.
Our action here is to adopt the resolution.
To adopt,
To adopt the resolution approving the purchase and sale
and
agreement,
Send it
yes.
on the way.
Correct.
yeah.
I would make a motion.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Roll call. Public comments. Anybody in the public make a comment on this? Moses, state you. You have to state, we already know you.
That's okay. Thank you. Moses Stites, General Manager, Fresno County Rural Transit Agency. And again, we stand here before you, Fresno County Rural Transit Agency, because we want to continue and maintain our partnership with Selma, and we think this is the ideal location for this future facility. I'm going to have Janelle pass out some of our projects that we've got on the long-range transit plan, and we hope that these land in the city of Selma. We did initiate this agreement, not having done one before, just like we did the other one with the maintenance agreement. We took it upon ourselves as an agency to do something fiscally responsible, and that is develop the agreement, save you folks time and money and that sort of thing, because we knew you would be reviewing it as well. And we wanted to expedite the process. It was our first rodeo with regard to that. So that's why there were some corrections and edits and so forth, but we got to the point where we're here. What you have before you is a list of long-range projects. And I'm standing here before you because should all these things fall into place, we're looking at a minimum of implementing the majority of these projects here in Selma's front yard and backyard. I can get into some of the detail with some of those projects, but if you look at the CNG and the EV thing, those are pretty big. Could you just picture a public CNG facility along the Golden State area where we're going to build when ARB, California Air Resources Board, is requiring all the diesel trucks to be converted to CNG or electric by 2025. There are no public CNG facilities. The closest one is Reedley, okay, just to the east of us. This would be an ideal location. Again, FCRTA would apply for the grants. You would not be out of pocket any money. So hopefully the agreements will go a little smoother at that point in time. And these are things that are going to benefit the community. And I'm sharing that with you because we're trying to enhance this partnership. And like all of the other projects that we've done before with the bus benches, like the one out here, the solar charging unit, the automated gates, all those things have been of no cost or expense to the city of Selma. So we want to continue that relationship, and we think by you taking action on this agreement for the other agency approving this land sale, we think it's a step in the right direction, and we just hope to develop some, if not all of these projects right here in your backyard and front yard. Thank you.
Will the FCRTA be able to help us with the oversight committee and the Department of Finance doesn't sound like Department of Finance, that's an email, but the oversight committee, will they be there? Will somebody be there for the hearing there?
The oversight board is a public meeting, and should FRCTA choose to attend, they're obviously more than welcome to attend that meeting.
Would
Can
that
you-
be a
okay.
possibility?
We would at your direction. I mean, we don't want to overstep our bounds.
Oh, no,
loose-
no, no.
loose
Uh,
term
Mo-
there.
Moses-
But
I
You
have
could- you
discussed the
let
matter
us
with
confirm
Moses,
it.
not as much as him going to the meeting itself, but working collaboratively and working out the benefits and what this means to our city, and not just the city itself, but as a region. So we're going to be working together closely on getting that data as far as job creation, economic development, and things of those nature. So he's willing to assist us as much as he can.
Well, because Moses, he wants that business-friendly relationship. We got to be business-friendly, Isaac. And
I agree.
And the county, they've always been, especially Moses. He's come to our community and helped the taxpayer with zero cost.
Yeah,
and
just from a direction
direction
standpoint,
stamp-
we should be, drawing on the
Drawing-
FCRTA
yeah.
as much as we can,
Yeah.
and really get that past that
Yeah.
oversight.
I agree. Moses has done a lot for our community as well as the surrounding communities as the
Yeah.
county as a whole. So I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
He's a great partner to have.
And I think this list that you have before you, I think has a lot of weight. I mean, I just put some approximate dollar amounts here, but really if you spin them for the local economy, they're even greater because
So multiplier
a lot of
effect.
these are multiplier effect, but also they're gonna enhance your development for other developers to come in and really have them on board with what's going on here, not just privately, but also publicly. It's also gonna get the utility companies on board to see that you folks may have some outstanding or outdated utility work that needs to be done, whether it's underground or overhead, and this may prompt them to do that. We're in contact right now with PG&E in San Francisco because we couldn't get the local office here to help us out. I had to make a few phone calls to the PUC and so forth, but that's beside the point. And that is, they're already looking at Selma to see what things can be upgraded here at hopefully minimal or little cost to you folks and the development community. So one thing helps another indirectly. And these are the positive things that come of this. And it's not our intention. We're just here to try and do business and serve our residents, your residents, to provide them the best, the most safe public transportation available to anybody here in the county. That's our goal.
And just to add to that, you're all aware of where the industrial park is, and then it's kind of sat dormant for some time now. So with this development structure come in, it brings new opportunities to those landowners to be able to sell those properties and grow the city even further as
I would
far as
think
an
other
economic development
businesses
standpoint.
would wanna come in that
Oh,
are
yeah.
independent or cottage industries.
Well, and
Definitely.
Also too, you have
retooling
Selma
and
Unified
Yeah.
School District right across the street. We're gonna partner with them. We're gonna hopefully get them on board with some projects. We've already got one project that we applied for with the Electrify America that's the Volkswagen rebate money that they're supposed to put back in the communities. And we're gonna try and do an education program with Selma Unified School District. We're picking Selma as the hub.
Will they have to change, pardon me, Moses, will they have to change their buses out to CNG as well, the school buses?
Eventually, yes, that's one of the mandates.
Could they contract out with other
Like-
locations, like
like us?
say the FCRTA?
Oh, by all means, that's the whole idea, is you
transportation hub?
wanna have a
Across the
central
street.
economic development, a niche for specifically that CNG, also the electrification, that 100% electrification, depending on what buses we choose, because we have a multitude of companies. We have right now 3 manufacturers and soon to have 4 of the electric vehicles. We're gonna choose one of those vendors as our designed choice for electric vehicles and buses. We have 100+ fleet. 100 buses, 100 vehicles, and if they're all electric, they're gonna have to have a location in which to distribute the parts, in which to have a satellite office. Why couldn't Selma be one? Okay? But again, this goes back to the agreements, and I'm not gonna belabor the issue, but we need to look at that business friendly and expediting that process, because I don't wanna put anybody else through the process that I went through, even though I had great legal counsel representation by both the county and private, not through this process. They would go elsewhere, and you know what? They would land elsewhere as well. So
But our
it's something
partnership's
to
too strong
consider.
for that.
Yeah.
Our partnership's too strong for those blips and those bumps in the road. We gotta focus on the road like we're doing. We got too big of a road ahead of us. And I really
Okay.
appreciate that. And what I like about your concern is it's not just macro, it's micro. You know, we talk about, you know, Linda Boychuk comes to me and talks about having a ride that's late, and you jump on it personally. And I appreciate that. I can always reach you on the phone. I mean, you're there for the little things as well as the big picture things too, and I appreciate that.
Thank you very much for your time, and let me know how it can be of help and service. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Moses.
All right. Okay. All right.
Do we have a motion?
and a
Motion.
second.
Okay, roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Robertson,
Aye.
Councilmember Durr,
Aye.
Councilmember Franco,
Aye.
Mayor Alvarez.
Aye. Okay, next item.
Mayor, at this time you need to recess the
Oh, yeah,
successor
gotta recess
agency.
the success agency back to regular meeting. Okay. All right, we've done that. All right. Number 5. Consider a resolution approving the ground leasing agreement with the City of Fresno Rural Transit Agency property location 1821 Pacific Avenue, Selma, California, zip code 93362. Isaac?
Thank you, Mayor. The item that you have in front of you is regarding the Fire Training Center. What we will be doing is entering into a lease agreement with the Fresno County Road Transit Authority so that we can maintain that structure there for a period of 2 years, or a minimum of 2, or a max of 2 years. We will be looking to move that item shorter or faster than that, but we have that option. He is only charging us $1 as far as the annual lease itself. So it's really more of just getting the structure itself properly moving into the public works yard. So we do have some time, which is a good thing. We are already working on that item and how that structure is going to work. And there will be an item in here to assist us to move that structure as well. Is there any comments or concerns, questions?
Okay, any comments from council?
No.
All right. Public, any comments to the public? Moses?
This is my last
You're up.
time. I apologize. Isaac, and I'm gonna
No, no,
jump
that's
in on
okay.
that. Isaac said there is some stipends in there to help you with the move. We appreciate the effort. We're, with all due respect to the fire department, we're not trying to displace you, but you're gonna land on your feet, and we did put what we thought was a reasonable amount to relocate them and get them to land on their feet again, okay? So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we are working on that budget currently right now to make sure that we can get that done.
And that will be in the maintenance facility. That's where the training will
Correct.
go, where the
Yeah,
maintenance
that
facility is located in the
burn.
south end, or is there a location for where?
To
that
the public
fire-
works yard, yes.
Public
To the corporate yard.
Okay,
To the south, the very south of it, yes.
all right.
So we work with the public works director. We've worked with the fire chief, myself. There's some items that need to be handled, but again, we're working through that budget and feel confident we can get it handled
Okay.
in a short term.
And, you know, once again, it's a no-brainer. You know, thanks, Moses, for being a part, you know, you're a part of our community. I thank you, you know what I mean? You know, and, but I'll refer it back to the body,
I move that we adopt the resolution.
okay?
Second,
Roll call, please.
I was,
Councilmember Durr,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Robertson,
aye.
Councilmember Franco,
Aye.
Mayor Alvarez.
Aye. So be it. Okay, she left. Usually there's a last item, public comments.
Mr. Mayor, because this is a special meeting, the public can only comment on items that are on the agenda.
Okay.
So there's no 2 public comment
Okay,
periods.
all right, then we'll make this,
Motion.
motion to adjourn,
So moved.
all right? Adjourn.
Oh,
We forgot one thing. Can we reconvene for 1 second? Councilman Durr has something.
Oh, okay, we can
Oral comments.
oral comment.
we have been contacted by,
Steve Smillian.
Steve Willian regarding some grants for parks.
Steve, okay.
We've been contacted by Steve Samuelian regarding some grants regarding parks. Being as that he is not currently have an agreement with us to chase grants, Scott and I were going to listen to a discussion with him and then bring it back to the council as far as
Information?
Informational.
Okay, information only?
Okay,
I think we're just gonna listen and then just bring it back and see what the council wants to provide direction.
yeah,
Yeah,
we've dealt
he
with
is
them
pretty
before.
well-known in the
Uh,
grant world.
Yeah.
And I think he's worked with the city of Selma before. He
Yeah,
said
he
he's had
has.
a unique opportunity.
Okay.
Larry's talking, but meeting's over.
Larry?
I know, we're just talking friendly now. Meeting's over, right?
Yes.
Should we adjourn? Yeah. I make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, we already had public comment. We'll be bringing back an item back.
We'll come down to the street.
Larry, we'll be bringing a particular item back. I'll give you the time and date.
Mayor, you know what?
Okay.
There was no public comment offered after, during item 6.
Yeah, if it's legal, we'll bring it back. Hold on, Larry.
You can reopen the meeting to if there was no comment.
So
We want to okay.
we're opening up one more time.
One more
Because we didn't
time.
offer public comment on item 6.
Item 6.
Okay, your second agenda said there was a public.
Okay.
I'm Larry Raven, live at 3504 East Huntington Boulevard, Fresno. The number 6 item, and the only comment that I have is I'm a property owner. I have properties all around that particular parcel, and I think it's gonna be detrimental, 100% detrimental, and shouldn't be authorized for a sphere of influence. Has never talked about anything in that sphere. It's a residential area. There will be some commercial up on Manning, but the fact to have a 9-acre shiny solar project where housing is gonna build adjoining it, I just don't think it's the right situation. The other factor for the city that you really need to think about, if you had 4 houses per acre, that's 80 houses on that 20 acre. And I believe they're gonna invest, I don't know, $100,000, $200,000 on it. You put houses in there, you're gonna have between 20 million and 24 million as a tax base. If the solar goes in, you lose that tax base. And I think in the past, you know, I've attended many meetings, helped on the sphere of influence, the general plan, and I just think this is detrimental. So I know that Fresno County denied it, and I urge you as the council to respond in a denial. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks.
Larry, this particular item is coming back to council, on this issue and on the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be back on the agenda for the 4th
On
for
the 4th.
further action.
All right.
Very good.
So you're welcome to attend,
Yeah.
sir.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Okay.
Make a motion to
To
adjourn.
adjourn again.